I hereby call the Brockton School Committee to order, it being Tuesday, March 15th, 2022, 7 p.m. I'd ask that we all please stand and salute our American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd ask that we please stand. I'd like to take a moment of silence for Mr. Al Aziaf, who was a dedicated educator here in the Brockton Public School System. He's also the brother-in-law of Matt George, who was superintendent of schools. Mr. Aziaf was an unbelievable guy. Did a lot of work here at Brockton High in the junior highs, and then he went over to Massasoit Community College, and that's where he retired. So if we could take a moment on behalf of him and his family at this time. May he rest in peace. Thank you, everybody. So welcome to everybody. We have a great group of students here as well. Thank you for being here tonight. Truly appreciate it, everything you guys are doing here in the schools. With that being said, I am going to call the roll to establish a quorum. Mr. Homer? Here. Ms. Ailes?
Here.
Ms. Rivas-Mendez?
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Here.
Ms. Azak?
Here.
Mr. Sullivan? Here. The chair is here as well. And we also want to thank Ellen, student representative, for being here as well tonight. Hearing of visitors, which is agenda item number 2. Mrs. Campbell just indicated nobody did sign in for hearing of visitors tonight, so we will move on. And with that being said, agenda 3 is the consent agenda. There's section A, B, C, D, E, and F. Are there any members of the school committee that need to take any matters out of order, or should we take them collectively? The form of a motion. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Sullivan. It was properly seconded by Mr. Homer. I'll just read into the record, if I could. A is the approval of March 1, 2022 school committee meeting minutes. B is the acceptance of the report March 1, 2022 facility subcommittee meeting minutes. C is the approval of out-of-state trip, Empower Yourself, to Manchester, New Hampshire. D is the acceptance of notification of personnel appointments, certified personnel. E is acceptance of notification of personnel appointments, non-certified. And finally, F is the acceptance of notification of personnel actions, leaves of absence, resignations, retirements. We do have a motion that was properly seconded. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. It does pass unanimously. Thank you very much. We'll now go on to agenda 4, which is report of Superintendent of Schools, Mike Thomas. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll start with our best. Our student representative, Ellen, is here with us, so she always gives us a great update, and she always brings such joy to our meetings, which is great.
Thank you very much. Good evening. So I'm just going to start off by talking about sports. So last Friday, we had 4 students from the track team: Mamadou Chamo, Anthony Canuto, Jamar Goss, and Jason Winoti, who placed 3rd at the New Balance Championship in New York City. We have the jazz band that competed at the MAJE Jazz Festival. You're fine. Okay. Is this better? Can you hear me? Okay. So the jazz band competed at the MAJE Jazz Festival in the Division I of the Southeast District and were awarded a gold medal and an invitation to participate at the next level statewide competition, which will be held on March 26th. There were also individual musicians who were awarded an Outstanding Musicians Award, who were Kyle Gildner, Maisel Samba, and Milton DeRosa. On March 19th, this Friday, the Drama Club will be competing in the METG Festival with their show, The Big 11. And 2 weeks ago, on March 4th, we had the open mic. We had students, current students and alumni who just came and showed their amazing talents and entertained all the audiences. Right now, a group of students called the Senior Voices are working on an event for the freshmen and the sophomores. They met last month on February 18th with the superintendent and Mrs. Burns and have finalized their plans. The event will take place in the Little Theater here, and there will be about 120 students per one period, per one presentation. It will take up the whole day, and the whole presentation will take 2 days, actually. So currently they're working together and finalizing the presentation and the content, and soon they will be having a dress rehearsal. So we are hoping to have the presentation either before April break or after April break. The third volume of the fourth issue of the Boxer Voice newspaper will be out tomorrow. There will be digital copies and printed ones. And I would like to invite everyone here to come to our school and see the work of the photography club. We have so many new pictures of students and staff members. And I just think they look so professional and so cool. Like, in a way, they also bring like the students together. Also, the Classical Modern Language Honor Society members are working together to plan more new activities, and they will be presenting their plans tomorrow at the meeting. And it is finalized that we will be having the induction ceremony on May 23rd. We also have a new club called the LAZO, the Latin American Student Organization. Some of the goals or the objectives this year are to embrace the Latin American culture of the student body, to put up some posters, have a potential dance lesson, and a food fair. The Senior Executive Committee will be meeting this Thursday, March 17th, to get an approval of most of their plans and events. So most of the seniors are just waiting for more information about the rest of the school year. Also, right now, the school is a little quiet than usual because there is MCAS testing and IB exams happening this week, and the students have worked very hard, and I'm just sure that they'll do great on the test. Also, I would like to say that I want, and I will always say this, that the students always need more activities and clubs, and I think that's what really brings them together, as you can see. But overall, I think most of the students are doing great. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Can we give a round of applause to all those students that achieved? Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. So, Ellen, when is the prom? We haven't heard anything about prom. So, junior prom's usually coming up in April, and senior prom in May. So, Superintendent, do we have any updates? Because you know me, and I'm always pushing the proms.
The proms are on. Usually the one is April 29th at the Chateau de Ville. Is that what? No, that's, what is it called now? The Lantanas? Am I showing my age? Lantana. At the Lantana. That's with the one with the big,
1980.
the chandelier, right? I liked it better when it was the Chateau de Ville. That's just me. So that's April 29th for the junior prom, and then Gillette Stadium for the senior prom. That's late May. We don't know the
I'm
exact date.
pretty
but
sure
late
it's May 26th.
May
That's what I've
26th.
heard from the Senior Executive
Love it.
Committee.
So tickets are 35? 35. Yeah, they're usually $80 a ticket this year because of the generosity of the school committee for covering the cost of the DJ, the rental of the venues. The cost for the students is only $35, and that's in the yearbook. The cost of the yearbook is only $35 as well. That's been getting close to $100. So something we were able to do with ESSER funding. Obviously that's around helping kids recover from COVID, and I'm happy to say that these activities this spring can take place fully without any restrictions, so it's going to be great.
That's awesome. Awesome. Looking forward to it. School committee members are usually invited. You're more than welcome. I know I've gone in the past. I have. I went to the senior prom last year. It was a fun time. So looking forward to it.
You should come this year too.
I will. I think I hurt my back dancing. It was a fun time. The superintendent's being awfully quiet over there.
All right, so next we have special guests today. So first I want to bring up Ms. Sharon Wolder. She obviously is the Chief Officer of our Student Support Services, and then our Rachel Umbriana, who is, and I know it's foreign language, but it's now called,
behind you.
is it up there behind me?
Classical and modern
Classical and
languages.
modern languages. So Rachel, who does a tremendous job as the department head coordinator of classical and modern languages, 6 to 12, but she also spends a lot of time working with our dual enrollment program. So Sharon and Rachel are here today to talk about the dual enrollment program that's at the George and how we're moving it to, some is at the Plouffe, and how we're going to not move it, but now start it also over at North, so they're going to present about that, and just the great things that have been happening with the program. So Rachel, thank you for all the hard work you've been doing. I know you work closely with Natalie Pohl and her team, and also with Kelly Jones in the bilingual department, so, and again, under Sharon's leadership, so thank you.
So, good evening, and as always, we like to bring to you all of the things that we're doing, especially that connect to our 3 focus areas and accelerated learning for students. And tonight, Rachel and Brianna is going to go over not just how we're moving the dual language academy, expanding it, but also the power of learning language and the value of being involved in the language department and the language classes and taking those opportunities within our school system, and how we've expanded it at the middle school level, at the high school level, and then when we talk about Promise College and Career Academy, you'll see even the connection with the language there. So Rachel and the students will take it from here.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start with the benefits of bilingualism. This is something that's really important. There's a lot of people in this country that are bilingual, but they're not necessarily biliterate. So we focus not just on our dual language programs, but also in our general language programs. The focus is on biliteracy. Students can read, write, understand, and speak another language. It's not just being able to speak. Also, a big focus in our department is on the global awareness. We spend a lot of time learning about other cultures, comparing those cultures to the cultures of our students in the classroom, generating discussion through that, which creates a cultural appreciation and also an empathy for others. And every study in the world will show you that the cognitive gains of learning another language are just extraordinary. Just mental flexibility, engagement, and overall academic performance, as well as test scores, increase with a study of a second language. So that brings me to the seal of biliteracy. So being biliterate is being able to read, write, speak, and understand another language. This, the upside down pyramid on the right is the ACTFL proficiency guidelines. So traditionally, I can speak from my own experience learning languages growing up. Language learning used to be sitting in a classroom, and let's say you had a speaking activity and you are sitting there rehearsing your lines, and then you stand up in front of the class and you just spit out your memorized conversation. We are focusing not only in the dual language program, but also in our language studies in general on proficiency. The goal is, if you were to pick up our students and drop them in a country that speaks the language in which they are studying, they are not just surviving, they are thriving. They're able to converse, communicate, and really thrive in other cultures with their language skills. So this, when our students start language learning, they are in the novice level. Then they go into the intermediate level, to the advanced level. The superior and distinguished is more of a collegiate level academics. Distinguished is more of an adult's academic language. Our students, in order to earn the seal of biliteracy is a stamp on their transcript from the state of Massachusetts that certifies that these students can read, write, understand, and speak another language, and they've been tested and are highly proficient. So in order to earn the seal of biliteracy, our students have to score at least intermediate high on their exams. If they want to earn the seal of biliteracy with distinction, students have to earn advanced on all of their assessments for all modes of communication, as well as the English component. Students have to meet, they have to score meeting on their ELA MCAS. If they earn the seal of biliteracy with distinction, they have to score advanced in their language exam, as well as the exceeding on their ELA MCAS. So actually, when I put this PowerPoint together last week, we had 28 students that have received the seal of biliteracy since January, more before then. 5 students have earned it with distinction. And I think since I've submitted this PowerPoint, we've had an additional 16 or 17 students that have gotten their test scores back and have earned the seal. We have over 100 students that are awaiting exam scores. And the awarded languages that we have so far are Spanish, Portuguese, Latin, French, Haitian Creole, Russian, Ellen, Swahili, Vietnamese, Yoruba, and Mandarin Chinese. So we are really focusing on not just assessing students in the languages that they speak or they're learning in our school. We are also focusing on assessing students on their home languages and celebrating those skills as well. So going back to the first slide when we were talking about creating global citizens, students who are empathetic, that are understanding and open-minded of other cultures, where does that lead them after graduation? So the awesome thing, the governor sent out a letter that any student that has earned the seal of biliteracy in the state of Massachusetts, if they want to pursue a career in education, teaching bilingual education or language education, the state is actually going to pay for their MTELs in order to get that certification to become a teacher. So those letters will go out to our students closer to graduation, and hopefully we can get some awesome language educators to come back and teach with us. Some other opportunities, medical and legal interpreting. I'm going to talk a little bit about our programs for that in the next slide. This is a study from 2017. This was the most recent study that I found, so that was 5 years ago. My assumption is this has increased greatly. So between 2012 and 2017, the demand for bilingual workers has more than doubled, and nearly 40% of businesses surveyed plan to hire bilingual staff. My assumption is now is that those numbers are much, much higher. And something, we do have students that graduate each year that plan to go into the armed forces, and I always mention to them that certain branches of the armed forces have enlistment bonuses of up to $40,000. I always tell the students to make sure when you are going on these interviews that you are promoting yourself and telling people that you are biliterate and that you can speak other languages. So some new changes and just some future plans. I've been working with Dr. Silva for the Promise College and Career Academy, and we are hoping to roll out American Sign Language in the fall. We've had some great discussions about what that looks like in the classroom and in the community. Our medical interpretation and translation program, 2 weeks ago I actually went to a dual language immersion conference in Utah. Ms. Gibson was there, and I made this comment how I feel like a celebrity when I'm there. I'm in Utah and we're talking about the medical interpretation program, and people are saying to us, oh, you're from that school in Massachusetts that has that program. People know who we are in other states, which again, I felt like a celebrity. We are the only medical interpretation program in the country that has an internship component for high school students. I've gotten calls from all over the country of people saying, how do you do this? How can we build in an internship component? Because a lot of schools have like a medical course where they just learn medical vocab, whereas our students are actually trained on site, receive a certification after they graduate the program. And Miss Sylvia Marks is the head of interpreting at the Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. And in the last 5 or 6 years, she's hired 8 or 9 of our students directly out of high school to work as interpreters in the Neighborhood Health Center. We are working on expanding our internship opportunities to other hospitals because we've expanded our program. So for this year, we actually expanded our medical interpretation to the Huntington and the FDA, and we are planning an expansion to Edison Academy this fall. Our legal interpretation course, this is again something that's brand new that I really want Brockton to be a leader in. I have not found any other courses in the country that have a legal interpretation course with an internship component. I've been reaching out to local lawyers, and we've generated some discussion about what this would look like and how we can offer this to our students. So stay tuned, as well as continued partnerships and new plans. I've been working with Bridgewater State University, UMass Dartmouth. We've been able in the past few years to offer college level courses to our high school students free of charge. And I have had meetings actually this week to continue that and to hopefully expand that partnership with them. And my favorite thing, our new proficiency-based curricula that we rolled out across all languages and levels this year. Again, goes back to the proficiency versus performance. Our students are not just able to memorize and spit out language. We're really focusing on that proficiency, that all modes of communication, that our students are totally literate. Going on to our dual language expansion, I did release this memo. So Our incoming sixth graders in the Juntos Spanish and the Unidos Portuguese programs will begin their study at the Dual Language Academy at North Middle School this fall. Our current students that are at PLUF, our current 6th and 7th graders, when they roll into 7th and 8th grade, they will continue their studies at PLUF. We're not going to interrupt their studies, but we are going to build and grow this program at North moving forward. In September 2024, the incoming 6th graders that are in the Amitié French program will join their language peers at North Middle School as well. Why North? The space, for one. Without disrupting any programs in the district, we'll be able to grow, but also our goal is creating a dual language community. So it's important that we establish a dual language program is something that is very unique, and students thrive when they're able to work together and go through. It's not easy. They're going through these hardships together. They're encouraging this cultural understanding and growth, and it really forms a community, a family. You'll hear several of our students talk about how they consider this to be their family. So having all of our language learners in one school allows for interdisciplinary work, cross-cultural opportunities, and collaboration across languages. The other unique thing that we have is our staffing. Our current Spanish humanities teacher in middle school is a native Portuguese speaker who is licensed in both languages, and our Spanish language and literature teacher currently for the two-way program has a degree in French and is licensed to teach both French and Spanish. So it's really important that we have these people being models for our students, that they are multilingual, and that is a positive thing. For our courses at North, students will take the literature and language and humanities courses in the language in which they study, and they will also take a contemporary issue course that is looking at global issues and solutions through the lens of language learning. So it really opens that perspective and again, the cultural aspect of language learning. How does this connect to our focus areas? Effective instruction. I just have to brag on our kids for a minute because that's like my favorite thing to do. Our students in the dual language program, we pulled the numbers at PLUF. Bonnie Brady, the associate principal there, pulled these numbers for their STAR testing. The students were tested in the fall and again in the winter. The targeted student growth percentile, the median growth percentile was 50. And this is how our 3 grades scored. As you can see, a huge growth, a huge increase. Ms. Brady said that in her time at PLUF, every time she's looked at these scores, she's never seen such huge growth with the students. So that, again, is a testament to our rigorous instruction, our wonderful educators, and our super hardworking students. Active reading and writing, going back to the proficiency thing, students are graded on proficiency across the district. So every language teacher in the district grades the same. We are focused on interpersonal communication, presentational speaking and writing, interpretive listening and reading. Those 5 categories, again, we're focused on learning the curriculum through those skills. So students are actively reading and writing as part of their language learning process in every single class every day. In terms of positive relationships, I thought what better way to really express how awesome our relationships were. I have students who are current two-way students and even a former two-way student that are just going to talk briefly about their experience in the program and their positive relationships. So.
Hello, school committee. My name is Montserrat Diaz. I am a current 9th grade student at Brockton High, and I am in the two-way program. I will be talking about this program in my script. Two-way has been an incredible part of my life and will continue to be for many years. This program has let me develop my skills in Spanish and let me collaborate with peers in the language. The two-way allows me to further my Spanish studies at a higher level than most as I get older. It also opens more work opportunities in the future as the world increases its diversity. My favorite part of the program is learning how to comprehend advanced level Spanish books and talk with my peers about the cultural and academic aspects of the language. El programa TUE ha sido una parte increíble de mi vida y continúa en los años que vienen. Este programa me ha dejado desarrollar mis habilidades en español y colaborar con otros alumnos en el lenguaje. TUE me permite progresar mis estudios de español a un nivel más alto que otros mientras que voy creciendo. También abre más oportunidades de trabajo en el futuro mientras que el mundo tiene más diversidad. Mi favorita parte del programa es aprender a comprender libros de español a un nivel avanzado y hablar con mis compañeros de los aspectos culturales y académicos del lenguaje.
Hi, I'm Peyton Elshami. A positive impact the two-way program has had on my life is how I have grown with the group of students that I began the program with. From kindergarten to now, junior year, I've shared this amazing opportunity and experience with them. My favorite part of the program is the connection between the years and how we've all stayed together. The two-way will forever hold a special place in my heart, and I'm so thankful to the people I've met throughout these 10 plus years of my life and the opportunities and experiences I will have in the future ahead. Un impacto positivo que ha tenido el programa de dos vías en mi vida es cómo he crecido con el grupo de estudiantes con los que comencé el programa. Desde kindergarten hasta ahora, ha compartido esta increíble oportunidad y experiencia con ellos. Mi parte favorita del programa es la conexión entre los años y cómo estamos juntos. El programa siempre tendrá un lugar especial en mi corazón y estoy muy agradecido con las personas que he conocido por más de 10 años de mi vida y las oportunidades y experiencias que tendré en el futuro. Gracias.
Good evening. My name is Milani Dupina, and I have been learning Spanish for 12 years. The two-way program has opened up so many opportunities to connect with students of other cultures and backgrounds. Together, we spent every day learning about the beauty of the Spanish language. The two-way has created a community of bilingual students that I'm proud to be a part of. Llevo 12 años aprendiendo español. El programa two-way ha abierto tantas oportunidades para hacer conexiones con estudiantes de otras culturas y orígenes. Juntos pasamos todos los días aprendiendo la belleza del idioma. TUE ha creado una comunidad de estudiantes bilingües, por lo cual estoy orgullosa de ser parte.
My name is Amelia Cabellin, and I've been a part of the 2A program for 11 years now. Being part of the program, I've been able to help so many people with knowing 2 languages. One of my favorite parts of this program is the family that it created. I was introduced to so many of my closest friends that I've known throughout all my years of being in school. Being immersed in the culture and learning a language in such a different way than most has helped me become the person I am now and exposed me to so many different parts of the language that I wouldn't normally have learned if I hadn't been part of the 2A. De estar en este programa de 2 vías, ha dio una oportunidad de estar en y ayudar tantos de muchas diferentes personas de cómo saber 2 lenguajes. Una de mis favoritas partes del programa era de que sea una familia. La programa ha introducido a muchas de mis mejores amigas y amigos. Aprendió de diferentes culturas y en una manera diferente que es muy importante de quién soy ahora.
Hello, thank you so much for your time. Hello, my name is Jahir Tineo Castillo, and I'm currently a junior at Brockton High School. I had the pleasure to attend George Elementary School, where I participated in the two-way program. When finished, I moved on to the Pluff School, where I continued my bilingual education. Apart from providing a collaborative environment, the two-way program introduced me to many like-minded individuals. With the many years we studied together, we explored the love behind the language, Spanish. I got to explore different cultures and different traditions, which aided in my love for my culture and my language. To conclude, my experience in the two-way program was extremely fun, eye-opening, while exploring global and cultural studies. The two-way program taught me that those barriers are no longer barriers. They are doors to culturally flooded relationships. To quote Nelson Mandela, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his own language, that goes to his heart. Hola, mi nombre es Jair Tineo Castillo. Actualmente soy estudiante de tercer año en Brockton High School. Tuve el placer de asistir a la escuela primaria de George, donde participé en el programa de 2 días. Al terminar mis estudios en esta escuela, fui para la Pluff Academy, donde pude terminar mis estudios de bilingüe. En este programa me enseñó muchas cosas. Con los muchos años que estudiamos juntos, exploramos el amor detrás del idioma español. Pude explorar diferentes culturas y diferentes tradiciones. Para concluir mi experiencia en el programa bidireccional, fui extremadamente divertido, revelado, mientras exploraba estos estudios globales y culturales. Como dice el quote de Nelson Mandela, si le hablas a un hombre en un idioma que entiende, se le sube a la cabeza. Si le habla en su propio idioma, se le sube al corazón. Muchas gracias por tu tiempo. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello. All right. I know a lot of you guys don't know me, except for obviously Miss Umbriana. My name is Donald Hernandez, and I actually passed all of the two-way program, which we used to call it, and now it's known as the Juntos program. So I'll be breaking this down. Obviously, I don't have a speech in front of me. I'm sorry, I was ill-prepared. But I'll try my best with my own experience with this program. So I'll break it down in 3 different ways: the past, the present, and the future. In the past, as a kid, I didn't see the opportunities that I was gaining from this program. But as later I grew and I realized that everything that I was learning was for a reason. This program doesn't just help you with your future, getting a job, which now I'm working in the programs. This actually helps you so that you can build a relationship with your friends that you can eventually even call your own family. I've known my classmates, which almost 16 years, what was it? A long time. I have them still on Snapchat even. I still talk to them to this day. If they have a problem, they can call me. And that's what this program has given me, a great relationship with the people that I love. Not only that, it's given me a great education. I can go anywhere I want and I can say, yeah, I speak Spanish. And of course, now it's sort of seen as just, oh, bilingual. But when you really talk to somebody that only knows one language, they look at you like you're crazy because you can just switch in an instant. Hola, mi nombre es Donald, yo puedo hablar español cada día. And it's just amazing that you can switch just like that. Also helps con las mujeres. There you go. So guys, I really do want this program to continue, and I honestly do recommend it for all students. Just because, think about it like this. You can speak English, right, every day of your life since you're a little kid. But if you added that second language, you can think outside of the box instead of just that normal, basic, just English. You will have an advantage in your toolbox that you can take on for the rest of your life. I've gotten my worst job working at Shino, an Asian restaurant, busting these dishes down, and my chef is El Salvadorian, same as me, so we would be speaking in Spanish. Obviously making jokes, but that's just how it is. And now, even the job I previously had at Best Buy, I would speak with my customers and I would make these relationships with them. And I loved whenever a Hispanic customer came in because instead of speaking to them in English, I would connect with them in Spanish. So I definitely do think this program should not only continue, but it should be more invested into. This is a great program, and it's definitely helped me with my future, and I know it'll help with any one of these students' futures. Thank you. My name is Donald Hernandez. It was nice talking with you guys.
Any questions for me or for the students? Yes.
Oh, pues muchas gracias por sus presentaciones. I do think bilingual versus biliterate, I love that you give that example, and we could clearly see that from their speeches, they could read fluently in Spanish. So great job, guys. I have some questions about, a lot of them said that they've been in the program since kindergarten, and they are in it throughout high school. So I guess my concern is, do they become, I know they become a family within themselves in their cohort, but do they become included with other peers that are not necessarily in this dual language program?
Yes, so the expansion to North not only will include our 3 two-way programs, but it will also include, we have students that are not in, just neighborhood students that will attend North. And again, it is a community, so regardless of these students that are learning other languages and cultures can certainly share that experience with their peers. It is not like an exclusive club. I mean, there's certainly, we have multiple entry points for students coming in, if students transfer into the school district. But it is not an exclusive community. It's one that we proudly share across schools and programs.
And it sounds like Spanish was the main language and we want to expand to other languages.
So currently our Spanish students, we've had our Spanish dual language program for over 18 years. So those students have gone through the high school and graduated as well. Our Portuguese program will be entering grade 6 in the fall, and our French program will be in grade 6 in 2024. So we have expanded. We are just getting them through the K-12 sequence with the hope of potentially expanding one day.
And I noticed Haitian Creole is one of the languages that we have, but Haitian Creole, from my understanding, is the base language is French, correct? So how is Haitian Creole taught? Just a wonder.
So our dual language program is in French.
Okay.
But our seal of biliteracy, we have students who their home language is Haitian Creole, so they are assessed in Haitian Creole. A lot of those students also speak French, so they are taking more than one exam for the seal of biliteracy in both Haitian Creole and French.
Okay. Sorry, I have like
Nope,
two more
that's okay.
questions. Also, it seems like students just stick with one language, or can they do more than one?
So our students going through the two-way program, once they reach the high school, we have so many different pathways, and we also have included other languages. We have IB French ab initio. A lot of our students will pick up Mandarin Chinese or the IB French in addition to their Spanish studies.
Okay. And are there any study abroad opportunities? I know you spoke about when they go to different languages, the idea is not just to survive but thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an option that they have throughout their studies?
That is something we're certainly working towards.
Okay. And then ASL. So I actually did ASL in college, best thing ever. In regards to that, I wonder, would the teacher be deaf and would they be exposed to the deaf community? Because that's like just similar as learning a language. ASL is very tied to the deaf community. And how would that look?
We're still discussing that.
Okay.
We have all these, if you know me, I have all these crazy ideas, and we kind of looked at what that would look like in the classroom and in the community. We haven't gotten as far as to, posting the job or looking for candidates and seeing what's out there.
Okay.
So-
all right. Well, thank you very much. And
course.
thank you. Gracias muchos, chicos.
Yes.
Hola.
Hola.
I'm only 17% fluent in Duolingo, so that's about it.
Progress.
What does Junto stand for?
Juntos means together.
That's what it means?
Yes.
Okay, and it's all capitalized, so it's not an acronym?
No, so juntos is together. The unidos is united. Amitié is friendship.
Okay, and then the other question I had for you is, you said you have multiple entry points. Again, bringing it back to my 17% fluent. How do you get into this program if you're interested? Do you have to be a couple of years of, speaking a foreign language? Like, what exactly is the entrance look like?
So when we do our lottery in kindergarten, every student, since the Spanish one is a two-way program, so it's 50% heritage Spanish speakers and 50% non-native speakers. But as students progress through, if we have students who transfer in that speak another language or that know Spanish, I actually do an assessment with them to figure out their language level and where they are, and then that's how we determine whether they'll be successful in the program or not.
And you said you have multiple entry points. What are they?
So just depending on students who transfer in. So
Okay,
there's
gotcha.
not, it's not set points, but if students do transfer into the district, it's not like a closed off program. We do offer it for students who have the ability to speak or are coming from another dual language program in another district.
So hypothetically, you have somebody that's been in the Brockton school system, they're in 5th grade, 6th grade, they decide to pick up maybe 4th grade, they decide to take another language at that point, and then they become pretty fluent.
So it's mostly for students who transfer in, because once, if you're not a native speaker, if you're picking it up in 4th grade, we want to make sure every student is successful. It would be hard to catch up at that point, but transfer students, English learners that come into the district, we assess those students and if they are at the appropriate language level to join their peers.
So essentially, they have to have some sort of background in the
Correct.
language. Okay.
Correct.
So a English speaker is not necessarily somebody that would be going into this program.
No, but in 6th grade, we do offer middle school language programs. So if a student transfers in and comes 6th grade, all students have access to languages.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Ms. Ezek.
Thank you for the presentation. I am a huge supporter of our bilingual. English was not my first language. I know I'm constantly repeating that a lot during the meetings, but having the 2 languages, and I noticed that Spanish is popular, and I would say probably every few weeks, given what I do for a living, even though I get clients that come in that can speak English very well, they do ask me, do you have a Spanish-speaking mortgage broker, or do you have a Spanish-speaking agent that I can work with? Because sometimes speaking in your own language, no matter how much, how strong your skills are as far as your English, they just feel more comfortable and they're able to interpret things a little differently. So, I mean, Spanish, that's giving you the upper hand as far as going out in the working world. Having that second language gives you more opportunities for job placement. So it's wonderful. And I know I'm always, cheering on my nieces, but both of them got the seal of biliteracy.
Yep.
And I would sit back and listen to them both speaking Mandarin Chinese and going, this is awesome.
Yes.
3 languages, Arabic, English, and Mandarin Chinese. So keep doing what you're doing. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Give our students as many opportunities as they can have. And this is what always makes Brockton stand out.
Yes, for
We're
sure.
always standing out by offering, I'd be interested as far as the legal interpretation, but medical interpretation. That's wonderful to be able to go out in the working world and have that be able to start working, even, part-time, whatever you need to do. But we are offering different opportunities. And we went over that during our retreat, having those different opportunities for our students. So it's wonderful. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Ms. Azak, to add to what you said, I think Mr. Castillo said it best. He said it, when you speak in a person's language, you get to their heart. And he quoted Nelson Mandela. So I think
Perfect.
similar to what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yep. You do. It makes you. You're pulling at their heartstring, like you're in their language, like you're acknowledging their language. So wonderful, and I agree. I'm just curious. It's wonderful to have him working at the George School.
Yeah.
So, thank you for coming back to BPS. I love seeing our alumni coming back.
I was about my teachers and how much I love them. So coming back and seeing those same teachers still working in those programs, it inspires me.
Thank you. Yeah, it's wonderful having our alumni working for us. So we're happy to have our alumni, and we're always looking for alumni to come back. So thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan, please.
I have a couple of comments, no questions, just a couple of comments. Number one, I was glad to see that you're moving to North Junior High. It's a great school. We got to fill it up. And the other, I've been sitting here for a long time with a lot of presentations, but this one is the best presentation that I've ever seen.
Thank you.
I couldn't believe it.
Aren't they awesome? This is why I'm always bragging on our students, because they're awesome. Thank you.
I can't speak any other languages, but I'm sure they did a good job. It sounded great.
That's why we gave the English translation first.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez, please.
Good evening. Great presentation. Bilingual myself, Caribbean and Creole. It's good to be able to just switch and speak a different language and help people out there. The only thing that that I kind of, want to echo what Kathy said, as far as like the entry points. I think that we should work more because we don't want to turn away any student on trying to learn a different language. Even if it's just like a club that we can actually create that where they could, progress and get to what language that they have, because we want to make sure every child in this district has that opportunity to learn a language, even if it's not a pair, but at least they know the basics and can kind of, get by.
They do.
So
So every student has access to a language and their choice of language, starting in grade 6. And we have various clubs. I think Ellen talked about, we have an honor society and the Lasso organization. We have so many different cultural and language opportunity clubs and classes available to every student in this district.
And also, is there like a waiting list for students getting in? Are we, is there like a backlog of?
For the two-way program?
For the two-way program.
We do. We have, every year we have a waiting list, which is why we're hoping to expand soon.
And
Other
that's,
languages and programs. That would be
Okay.
wonderful.
and is that's more of like, instructional because we don't have the staff to teach the language, or is it just space in the classroom?
It's a combination, space, and it's a lot of work to get a two-way program off the ground. So we are definitely working, now that we have 3 successful programs, obviously the goal is to continue to expand with different languages and opportunities across multiple schools.
All right, thank you, great job.
Thank you. All right.
I just want to first of all say thank you for being here. To do public speaking is a difficult task, and you just did exceptional, all of you. As long as I'm mayor, I'm going to support this. We're going to expand this. That's a commitment. And again, you're just great examples of what Brockton kids do every single day. So thank you very much, and thank you for your leadership as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, students. We really appreciate you being here. Great job. And I also want to thank the bilingual department. I want to thank Kelly Jones and her team, Natalie Pohl over at the George and her team, Michelle Nezarella and her team at the Pluff, and now going over to North with Principal Lynch. They've always supported this program, and I want to thank the school committee because even during, again, we were making budget cuts all those years, you've always continued to support the dual language program. And it's something that, like Rachel said, it takes a lot of work. It is difficult to staff, and they spend a lot of time with staff. I mean, they search all over the place for staff, and that's always been a challenge, but they've been able to maintain it and grow it. So I appreciate the hard work by all of them. So thank you.
Thank you.
So next, Sharon's back with us, and she's going to bring up Dr. Kelly Silva, the principal of the Promise High School College and Career Academy, and they're going to give you an update. She's also here with her head teacher. I thought I saw Dr. Robinson. Oh, there he is. Hi, Michael. How are you? So Dr. Silva, Dr. Robinson are going to present and talk to you about the Promise Academy, and Sharon will lead, and she's been leading this work with Kelly for the last 3 years. 3 years now, yep.
So 4 years ago, I went to Superintendent Thomas and said, we have an opportunity to apply for a grant. And this grant would give us a chance to develop a new high school. Having come from Brockton High School and many, many years in Brockton High School, it is the most fabulous high school in the universe, we all know. But we also know it's the largest high school in the state of Massachusetts. And for some students, that large school is not the best setting for them. And so we wanted to make sure that they're not choosing to leave our community to go to charter school or vocational school because they don't feel like they have other choices. And so the Barr Foundation was offering an opportunity for schools in Massachusetts to take advantage of this grant that they had to do high school differently. And so I went to him and said, I'm not going to apply for this if we won't have a space. And he said, this is a great opportunity for us to offer something else in our community, so go for it. And it was a very competitive grant. We went through the process of the application, the multiple interviews, the multiple interviews again, and ultimately won the grant. And Dr. Silva graciously stepped away from East Middle School to become the lead design person for the grant, and ultimately will be the principal of the school. So for the last 3 years, working with the Bar Foundation and Spring Point, which she will talk more about, we have gone through this development process to try to create a school that offers the greatest equity, diversity, and inclusion opportunities, everything that our district stands for, everything that we try to do, and to not make it a less than place, but to make it a different choice for students who are interested. So Dr. Silva will update you, and many of you who have been on the committee have heard about this before, have voted on buildings and all of that stuff, so you're aware of it, but we do have new members that this might be your first time hearing details about Promise College and Career Academy.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here today. No pressure, by the way, the best presentation ever, so to follow. I got this, yeah, no problem. As Sharon mentioned, in partnership with BAR and under the guidance of Spring Point, we created a responsive school model built on the most critical voice that we have, which is student voice. So through several interviews, focus groups, and things like that, students came up with 3 things that they definitely want in a high school. And it was opportunities to develop meaningful relationships and connections, access to educational experiences to prepare them for college, career, and life, and more relevant academic experiences connected to their lives that they have and the lives that they want. So Promise College and Career Academy is a choice high school in Brockton designed for students and families who are seeking a more personalized learning experience. PCA, or Promise, operates on the belief that all students can succeed if a school is designed to meet their individual interests, talents, needs, and learning styles. By placing students at the center of the educational experience and creating modern, flexible structures that set them up for success, PCCA is reinventing what a high school can be. So to ensure our graduates have the skills, competencies, and knowledge to succeed in college, career, and life, we've created a learning model that aligns with the Brockton focus areas. College and career planning, financial literacy, rigorous, relevant, and engaging learning experiences, competency-based assessment, and advisory. So under effective instruction, of college and career planning. So our students don't have to choose between college or career because we're going to prepare them for both. So immediately, starting in grade 9, we're going to work with them to create a pathway to target their education, but they're also their future focus. So through curriculum connections, a college and career plan, workshops, college tour, early college courses, job shadowing, and internships, we want to prepare students for what they want to do. And it's important to note that starting in grade 9, like our curriculum, if a student is interested in, say, auto mechanics, but they also are interested in finance, we have what we call TLEs, which I'll explain to later, that also make these connections for the students. So it's not just, all right, you're going to do one thing. It's all these things that add up through the curriculum, through experiences, through presenters that prepare them for college and career. And the goal is to have students enroll in early college courses so they can graduate with a high school diploma and an associate's degree and do job shadowing and have them do internships. So I know we have a lot of professionals here that we would love to partner with for that as well. So financial literacy is we're going to have a strong financial literacy focus, and it's very important. It's more than budgeting a checkbook. It's more than credit cards. Financial literacy is really targeted or associated with our students' social and emotional learning and their well-being and their health. So in addition to learning things like about credit card debt, loans, budgeting and investing, we're going to give them experiences so they can make those connections. So have them go to, say, a college and play with the stock market, or have them have a How to One workshop on different things, but also looking at what's other things surrounding financial literacy, like media and spending habits, and how race can affect interest rates when you're looking for a home. So effective instruction in active reading and writing. So as part of our rigorous curriculum, we have what we call transformative learning experiences, or TLEs. TLEs are high-quality project-based units that ignite a love of learning, foster rigorous thinking, make learning relevant and engaging, and provide students opportunities to develop identity, form authentic connections, find purpose, and master meaningful competencies linked to their goals for the future. So TLEs have core components, and these components are really important. I really don't have my glasses, so. It starts with a unifying driving question, and this establishes the purpose of the unit. And then it has inquiry-based lessons. But the most important components of a TLE are the performance tasks. Like the students can create a creative artifact, they can do a piece of writing, a presentation to an authentic audience. But then also we provide them with expectations for their performance. So there's no guessing. They know exactly what's required of them. And this can be through rubrics, exemplars of student work. So we give them the standard, we give them the rubric, and then we support them to meet them. And we have formative assessment checkpoints. And this is really important because students have a goal, and we'll talk about the competencies, but this ensures that students and teachers can assess the progress towards the goals, see what supports they need to reach those goals. And then the experts in the field. So say one of the TLEs is You Ought to Know, and it's about buying a car. So some of the experts that we can have come in could be somebody for a loan, an auto mechanic. So kids get to explore different careers and get exposed to different professionals that they can have as connections later on in life through this project-based unit. So we've identified 4 competencies: discern, argue, communicate, and direct my learning. And these competencies are supported through the transformative learning experiences, the TLEs. And I just want to give you an example of how this works. So we have one TLE, it's a slam poetry unit. And one of the performance tasks is a written commentary. So the written commentary is analysis of the poem. So the student knows exactly what their final product is going to be. But how are we going to assess them? So we have aligned competencies that will tell them exactly how they're going to be assessed. So discern, I can describe how material is crafted, explain how authorial choices shape the presentation and communication of ideas. I can organize content and employ logic. So they know exactly how they're going to be assessed. So when they meet with the teachers, they might meet competencies 1 and 2, but they're still struggling with competencies 4 and 5. That's why the teacher knows exactly what support they need to help them master all the competencies. So it's not like I just failed my project, I failed this writing assignment. It takes failure out of the equation. And it really focuses on the skills that you need to improve on. Positive relationships. So positive relationships, one of the things that struck me when I was interviewing the students is the need for developing positive relationships with adults, because in my experience, I've been in the district 23 years, a lot of times students don't really like adults. They don't want you to connect with them or something, you know what I mean? They act like that, but they do. They want us to kind of be really invested in them even when they say that they don't. So they want our support, and one of the ways we're going to do this is through our advisory model. So advisory is going to be a required class every day, and students will be assigned an advisor from grade 9 to grade 12. So that'll be your go-to person, someone that you can count on, someone that you can trust for academics, for personal, if you have, to help communicate with your families. They will have that person. And a sample schedule could look like Monday is a social emotional learning focus, restorative circles on Tuesday, a personalized career coaching on Wednesday, college and career readiness on Thursday, and case conferencing, which is, a check-in with your advisor. So you start with the goal, and the advisor meets with you the next week and says, all right, where are we with the goal? What's getting in the way? How can I help you? How can I support you? So you have that person, but then you also have the entire staff to support you as well. So student enrollment, based on the guidance from BAR, we are going to have a progressive student enrollment. We're going to start with 50 students and add 50 each year to reach our maximum of 200 students. And we hope to start marketing this to the students and then collecting applications as soon as April. Any questions? Yes.
Thank you so much. That was a great presentation. That's the first time I've seen anything on Promise, so I appreciate it. If we're going to start out with 50 students and then do 50 per year, what do you think the maximum students per advisor should be? Because this is kind of we're approaching this curriculum completely different than anything else.
Yeah, so my recommendation and what we've looked at is 10. And because the teachers, the staff that I have right now working at the SEL Center at Promise, so they've actually received training in primary person and case conferencing and things like that, so they know the things that they should be doing in addition to teaching the content area. So mine would be 10.
Thank you. This is just a comment. You don't have to answer me. I will tell you that I love the concept of CBA. I really do. I do have some concerns that they're going to be truly ready for an academic college career by 12th grade with the way that we're assessing them. I have concerns with that. I'm just saying that.
We're working on an alignment because it's going to be very confusing for the students too with grades.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with the competencies, it's more informative. It helps the student know that you're not failing. You know what I mean? You just need work here. And it helps the teacher better understand they're not failing. They need help here and here. So as a teacher, if I see these competencies students are struggling with, I can group those students. If I see that there's a lot of certain competencies that a lot of students aren't grasping, then I know what I need to target. But this allows a student, say if I'm a struggling learner and I'm struggling to meet a lot of competencies and Dr. Robinson is mastering all of his competencies, we can still be in the same classroom.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
For sure. The only thing, I'm just looking at it like for the two to meet in terms of being truly ready for college. I really feel like that's where those advisors are going to be key.
Oh,
because, do you know what I'm saying? Because they're not going to get that kind of attention freshman year, depending on where they go. There's not going to be somebody there to tell them, this is where you're failing in this particular competency in English 101. And so I would just want to make sure that there's those meaningful conversations with their advisors on how to cope with that once they get out of this type of learning platform. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and we'll have a specific curriculum, and we'll also have training. And that's another thing with BAR and with the grant that we received. They are going to help us, they're going to provide us with training and funding for training.
Mm-hmm.
So when we go into next year, everybody's prepared.
Okay. Thank you very much. Great.
Thank you.
Any, Ms. Azak, please.
I just had a quick comment. So thank you for the presentation. And I also liked how they're incorporating everyday life, from finances to just, there's a lot of stuff that you touch base on that you see a lot of students are not getting that. Just everything from credit debt or loans in, I don't remember the slide, but you touch base on a lot of everyday life issues that you're not really prepared for sometimes once you're done with high school. So it's nice that they're incorporating all that and helping them understand and actually helping them build a network within our community that they can always reach out afterwards. And, they're getting familiar with whether it's somebody at the bank or, different things. So that's wonderful. So how long is the grant? Can you just give some of the new members some info as far as the grant and...
Well, we've had the grant for 3 years. It's a planning grant. If they approve our model, I am going to be writing another grant to get support for our next year. So that will help us with our implementation. It's going to be a lot of learning. I'm excited to have that first cohort of students really help us like fine tune the design, because that has been the best part about this process, is listening to the students and really designing something that gives them what they want, but also gives them what they need and deserve.
No, definitely. And so you're starting off potentially with 50 and hoping for at least 200 in the long run, which is wonderful. So
Yes.
thank you
Thank
for the
you.
presentation.
Mr. Sullivan, please, followed by Mrs. Rivas Mendez, please.
Thank you. Nice presentation.
I'll take it.
Almost the best. But I just wanted to say, we just had a finance meeting tonight, as well as a retreat last Saturday. And we were talking about, we're missing 750 odd students. I'm not sure how many there really are. But programs like this, and programs that we talked about, the early college Saturday, is going to bring these kids back. You know, it's just a nice, real nice, fabulous program. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
So application, how does that look like? Are they doing like an essay? Is it just basic information, name, last name?
So we're fine tuning the application process. I do have, it's just a couple, we're going to have an application and interview, because I feel that sometimes on an application, you don't get to know the student. You know what I mean? And I really want the students to know about us and us to know about them. So we have an application, and there's like a couple of parent questions as well. But then we also have a series of interview questions just to see, like, what are the students interested in? Because that will also help us inform, like, it's going to look different year to year based on who we have in front of us. Like, if student interests change, then our model, not our the specifics or like the careers or different things that we do will kind of shift as well. So we have an application process that we have an application, a couple of questions, parent questions, and then an interview.
Okay. And then in regards to the first 50 cohort students, are they all ninth graders, or are you doing all mixed grades?
All ninth graders, because we lose a lot of eighth graders. Like, I know a lot of kids like Southeast, and I've been like advertising, like, you know, what about Promise? And what's Promise? Well, let me tell you about Promise, you know, and I've been doing things like that because a lot of eighth graders have been talking about Southeastern and different options, so.
Okay. And then I noticed on the financial literacy, you had a part called race and interest rates, and how interest rates affect depending the race you identify or are. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you kind of have like a social justice, racial part of the unit. I wonder, if you're starting with 50 cohort, how are we socially and emotionally supporting these students? Because sometimes those conversations could be really hard at a ninth grade age level.
Yeah. And that wasn't necessarily just for all ninth grade. That's going to be throughout the grades. However, we do have a social emotional learning team, a staff that actually focuses on different things. And we actually have I've learned from them how to create the social emotional learning connections to the curriculum as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. The last question I have about the application is, I know you said you're still kind of working through it. It's just like, how would a ideal candidate look like? And is there bias in the application in the sense of who gets into the academy?
We are looking for students who are interested in our learning model. We're also working with the lawyers to make sure that the process is fair and equitable when making the decisions.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Rodriguez, please.
Good evening, Dr. Silva.
Good evening.
Great program. I can see this excelling beyond its reach. My only concern is, actually, it's like a question: is our bilingual population being included into this model?
Yes.
How is that?
We are going to be staffed for bilingual students as well as special ed students.
All right,
And actually, when we designed this model, our most marginalized populations were the kids that we had in mind, because a lot of times they're just an afterthought, and we brought them to the forefront.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Homer first.
Thank you. I was just going to ask, is there an example of a promise program that is already functioning in another school that we could look at just to get a model or get some feedback about what's working in one district or somewhere else?
I don't know if there's a promise program. As part of the design and through the grant, we visited schools in New York, in New England, and we kind of stole what was working from different models.
That's it? Okay, thank you. Ms. Ayles. No, thank you, Mr. Homer.
Just one quick question. You said this was from somebody else's question, we've had a grant for 3 years so far.
Mhm.
And then if they basically approve our model, we're going to apply for another grant to help with implementation costs?
Yes, it's not implementation costs. They have certain things that you can use the grant for, but it supports the model. So when you're implementing the TLEs and you're implementing different things, it will help you finance the cost for that, and it's helped us with a couple of salaries before too.
Okay, so it's not something egregious. I'm looking at, what I'm trying to actually get at is if we don't get those monies and our model still works for us, does that put us in jeopardy with the budget in any way because we weren't anticipating those costs? So we assume if we're
No, because they haven't been, it's been supported, this pilot has been supported by local funds as well, so we would be funded to start the program with 50 students. Yep.
And we currently have some of the staff already in place at the other program.
Any additional questions? Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you.
Doctors. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, next. Oh, it's quick, earlier at 6 p.m., we had a Finance Subcommittee meeting, and I'll go quickly over just, Chris was sharing the numbers off of the governor's budget. So just going from last year from Chapter 70 in FY22, we received $212 million. This year, the proposed governor's budget has us at $224 million. That's a gain in $11.6 million in Chapter 70 aid. And then we have, so basically overall, the overall increase with charter school reimbursement, tuition that received back, it's about a $13.5 million increase. But if you go down and look at the money we lose in school choice tuition, and also with charter school tuition that loses about $3.8 million, that leaves us at a loss of about $3.6 million because we get reimbursed $147,000 back in there, so it's about $3.6 million that we lost. So that gives us a net school spending result of $9.8 million. And again, as we spoke earlier, just so people know, we're down 754 students, which is $12 million in funding in Chapter 70 from the Student Opportunity Act. So the good news is we do not have to have any layoffs this year, but and thankfully for ESSER, we're able to make up the shortfall, and we will also do that through some attrition because we do have pockets of small class sizes. So we'll be working over the next several weeks with you. We have meetings weekly now with Chris, myself, the CFO, Troy Clarkson, and the mayor. We meet weekly to start to go over the budget, the non-net budget, and also the net school spending budget that will come out. You know, obviously the chapter aid goes directly to the city, and then we work out with the mayor, you know, how much obviously comes to the school department. So we will be meeting every Tuesday with the committee to go over the budget, and then we'll be in front of you next week with our second round, and then we'll start to get into the much more detailed work of the budget when we get into next Tuesday night. So, Mayor, thank you for...
Yeah, no, and I also want to say, Aldo, even though he's still at home recovering, Chris has been awesome, but Aldo is definitely participating and helping us with Troy, and the synergy between the city and school is real, and it's great. So thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Nope. So, I don't know if anybody else had anything else to add to the budget, but, and that's the end of my report, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, no, thank you. I also, Ellen, you're part of the team, so I just want to make it clear, if you have any questions for any guests when I go around, feel free. Okay, I just want you to know that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. We have agenda number 5, which is unfinished business, and there are 2 matters there. Discussion and potential vote for the bid review subcommittee meeting, which is March 7th, 2022. And then also the other matter is discussion potential vote for the finance subcommittee meeting, which was March 8th, 2022. Mr. Sullivan?
This was summarized. I hope I didn't leave anything out. The bid review subcommittee met on Zoom Monday, March 7th, 2022. We had a quorum. The meeting started at 2:06 p.m. Motion was made to accept the low bid by Tony Rodriguez, seconded by Kathy Ellers, to accept the bid from Williams Lowe Movers to move the high school furniture and supplies in 2 days. I make the motion to accept these minutes as read.
It's a form of a motion.
Yes.
Is there a second? Motion was made by Mr. Sullivan. It was properly seconded by Ms. Azak. Any comments on the motion before we take a vote?
Can we get clarification? So the high school is at the Keith Center,
The old high school.
the old high school. So it's the Keith Center.
Yes.
The
Okay,
record's
just-
much, yeah, thank you. The
just so
minutes
it's
should
not the
reflect that.
VHS.
It's-
Okay.
yeah. The current Keith Center.
Okay.
Thank you. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure because it made it sound like Brockton High we were moving. So perfect.
Dr. Cobbs was going to fall over, so thank you, thank you. There is a motion that's probably seconded. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. It passes unanimous.
And I have a second motion to move this favorably to the full school committee.
It's a form of a motion. Is there a second?
Yeah, in the motion.
Second.
Motion was made again by Mr. Sullivan, probably seconded by Ms. Azak. All in favor of that? All opposed, motion carries again.
Just one final, the meeting ended at 2:20 p.m.
Minutes will reflect that. Thank you. Thank you.
Mayor, I have 2 items under the finance. So the first one is the finance subcommittee meeting on Tuesday, March 8th. Mr. Homer, motion to approve the community schools driver education program proposed rate changes for 2022 as presented. It was seconded by Mr. Sullivan, and the vote passed unanimously. The second item is the finance subcommittee meeting that was earlier this evening, March 15th. Mrs. Ellers made a motion to approve the early retirement incentive for all unions for 2022, and it was properly seconded by Mr. Sullivan, and that was voted unanimously.
Are you at this time making a formal motion relative to that matter, Ms. Azak?
Yes, we will. Yes, a formal motion.
As stated.
As stated.
Okay, there's a motion by Ms. Azak relative to a favorable recommendation of what was
Second.
stated. Is there a second? There's a second by Mr. Sullivan. Let the minutes reflect that. Ms. Azak made the motion, properly second by Mr. Sullivan. Any questions on that at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. It passes unanimous. Agenda item 6 is new business. Is there any new business before us?
There's one thing, Mayor, I missed was the subcommittees. I don't know if anybody had anything to refer to subcommittees.
Sure, yeah, thank you,
I'm
Superintendent.
sorry about that.
Any matters to go to subcommittee? Mr. Rodriguez?
Do we have a date with the athletics?
You have that date yet? We do, what do we have? April? Early April? All right, perfect.
Any other matters relative to subcommittee? So new business, I just have 3 things. I want to thank everybody that attended the retreat, all the school committee members, less one who wasn't feeling well. I want to thank Melinda Campbell for everything she worked on that. Really great conversation by all of us on a Saturday at West Middle School, so kudos to everybody. I want to thank Lieutenant Jones and Sergeant Livingston and Danny Vaughn from School Police as well for participating. It was really, as always, a really good, Dr. Zach was there bright and early. It was a really good conversation, and it's a good opportunity to go through everything from A to Z, and that's what we did. So I just wanted to say thank you as the chair. 2 other things. Brockton stands with Ukraine. So tomorrow we are doing a flag raising ceremony at Brockton City Hall at 11 a.m. You won't be able to be there, Ellen. I know you'll be in school. But with that being said, we will be, and standing in solidarity, we will be raising the Ukraine flag. We purchased the flag. We also have posted on social media that we are working right now to get donations to send to Ukraine. We will be receiving them in the mayor's office. I've also reached out to all the hospitals, including Neighborhood Health Center as well. We're looking for medical supplies. So we received some donations today already. And there is a student at the Huntington will be coming to my office tomorrow. He's been working on his own accord to receive donations. So again, I just wanted to thank Jess Hodges and Superintendent Thomas for bringing that to my attention, and we welcome him tomorrow. And the last thing, the Irish flag raising ceremony will be at 12:30. You don't have to be Irish to be there, but it will be at 12:30 on Thursday, St. Patrick's Day. Any other new business before anybody else? Yes, Ms. Azar.
I just had a quick comment. So thank you. Again, attending the retreat and then seeing a lot of the presentations the past couple of weeks. It's wonderful that we're seeing so many different programs that we're bringing forth to help our students. And there's going to be so much. It's really exciting to see a lot of stuff that's coming through. And Brockton has always stood out, and we're doing the best that we can to stand out and make bring more students in. And I think all these opportunities that we're offering is just wonderful. And we just have to spread the word and just keep marketing to get more students. But, we met with, Dr. Sean Boone, and he just, his presentation. Then we had Lisa Rodriguez, was it, with the mentoring. So again, it was wonderful, listening in on the speakers and just seeing how we're changing as far as BHS and then BPS. So I just want to say thank you, and looking forward to seeing what our future holds, especially this evening with a lot of the programs. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you. The last thing I want to say is I brought it to everybody's attention in the past. Jeff Weiner is the CEO of Santander Bank. I've known him since the first grade. He's class 88 here, graduate of Brockton High. Doesn't live in Brockton, but I just texted him. Brockton's considered home for him. Once a Brocktonian, always Brocktonian. Just want to thank Principal Burns. We've been able to formalize an official program with Santander and BPS, specifically Brockton High. So I want to thank you, Mike, and specifically I want to thank Mr. Weiner and his team at Santander.
Absolutely. And then I have a couple things on the new business first, and we'll have them here so we can recognize them. But the boys 4x200 meter relay took third place last weekend at the New Balance Nationals in New York City. So we'll have the coach Fernaldo and the members of that team come before us, and we'll give them certificates at the next school committee meeting. And then finally, under new business for me is graduations will take place back to normal. So we'll be back with a full graduation for Brockton High School, all 4 buildings at once. So I'm asking the committee that we change the start time. So it's Saturday, June 4th, but we want to make the start time 11 a.m. It has been at 2, which is we've run into issues with heat. And we also have heard feedback from parents. It's a little bit later. It's late in the day and kind of hinders cookouts and graduation parties. So it would be a lot easier, especially for our graduates who are sitting out on the field under the hot sun, that if we could change that start time to 11 a.m. on Saturday the 4th for Brockton High School. And that's graduation weekend. So we will have Edison Academy, we'll have the Key Center, the Huntington. Those are all part of graduation as well. So I look forward. That's Friday night, and then Saturday is the Brockton High graduation.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. So this time, if a member of the school committee would consider making a motion relative to what Superintendent just articulated, changing the date for graduation.
Time.
I'm sorry, the time, 11 a.m.,
11
not 2 p.m.
From 2.
That's right.
I'll make the motion.
Motion.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
I'm going to recognize Cynthia.
Cynthia's motion.
Motion to change the time for the BHS graduation from 2 p.m. to 11 a.m.
Yes.
And that's going to be June 4th.
Saturday, yep.
Saturday, June 4th.
Thank you. Form of a motion. Is there a second? Mr. Sullivan made a second. All in favor, kindly raise your hand. All opposed? It passes unanimous. Anything else before us? I entertain a motion to adjourn. Anybody want to make that motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. We got 2. We got Mrs. Rivas Mendez and Mr. Rodriguez. Is there a second? Mr. Homer made that second. All in favor? All opposed? It carries. Drive careful.